Of course, it's closer to the parlor. I saw that some kind of
flames.
Yes,
Smoke.
It's not a thick smoke, just like a flame. So I now quickly opened. It was when I opened the door that light just flashed on me. I said, because already that was what I was showing you people.
What are you trying to say?
These are fire burns.
Okay.
At that point, when I saw that light and the thing fly, what I did was I moved out. I started shouting for help. Okay, I said, please help, fire. Luckily, there's a security. He came. So I said, please, I need water. The one woman I said, oh yeah, come. I said, pour me water, because you can see I was already in pain of run. The woman started pouring me water. That was the last thing I remember. The other thing I remember was I found myself in the hospital in the morning.
This lady thought she was coming home to settle a dispute, but she walked straight into a deadly trap, a secret flight, a suspicious husband, and a house that would soon be engulfed in flames. What really happened on that tragic night? On the evening of Thursday, March 31st, 2022, Mrs. Chinelo Uguduru landed in Nigeria after a long flight from Scotland via British Airways. She arrived at Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos at around 8 p.m. and immediately called her only brother, Ifeanyi, to come and pick her up. Ifeanyi, who lived in Lagos, didn't hesitate. He drove to the airport, picked up his sister, and together they headed to her house. However, upon arrival, they were met with an unexpected problem. The gate was locked. Without wasting time, Chinelo called her husband, Benjamin, asking him to open the gate. Benjamin, a 50-year-old man, was surprised to see his wife's Nigeria phone number flashing on his screen. Normally, they communicated through WhatsApp to avoid the high cost of international calls. Suspicious and confused, he picked up the call. He immediately asked, "Why are you calling me with this number?" That was when Chinelo dropped the bombshell. She was right outside their house and needed him to open the door, or the gate rather. What Benjamin didn't know was that she had deliberately kept her visit a secret. She hadn't informed him that she was returning to Nigeria. But as the night unfolded, it became clear that this one decision would not only become the biggest mistake of her life, but also the most devastating tragedy her family would ever face. Benjamin, still processing the shock of his wife's unexpected return, told her he wasn't home, but would ask the gatesman to open the gate for them. When he finally arrived at home, Chinelo and Ifeanyi were already inside, trying to act normal. He welcomed his wife, hugged her, and helped carry her luggage inside. Minutes later, Chinelo received a phone call. She told Benjamin she needed to take the call in front of Ifeanyi, since it concerned him. She then walked to the guest room where her brother was resting for the night. And apparently, since it was late and his own home was far, Ifeanyi decided to sleep over. But that choice, just like Chinelo's decision to return to Nigeria, would turn out to be the worst mistake of his life too. However, the phone call dragged on for over 20 minutes and Benjamin grew impatient. He walked to the guest room, told his wife he was going out for a drink, and left for a nearby bar, just 3 electric poles away from the house. Coincidentally, while at the bar, Ifeanyi showed up to buy sachets of water. Seeing him there, Benjamin assumed their conversation was over. He finished his drink and headed back home. But when he arrived, he found his wife still inside the guest room with her brother. Frustrated, he lay down on the couch in the living room and fell asleep. What happened next, guys, was a nightmare that would haunt the family forever. Just about around 4 a.m., neighbors noticed thick smoke rising from the house. Surprisingly, there were no screams or cries for help. Alarmed, they rushed over, broke down the door, and found Chinelo's house engulfed in flames. By the time they got inside, Chinelo was already gone. Ifeanyi, however, managed to escape, but he suffered severe burns. Neighbors quickly rushed him to the hospital, but in a tragic turn of events, he was rejected at the first hospital due to the severity of his injuries. He was then taken to a second hospital, which also turned him away. Oh my goodness, this is so devastating. I mean, it's so incredible that there are hospitals in Nigeria who can see somebody badly wounded and still turn him away. The best thing they could have done is accept him, at least try to treat him a little bit, and then put calls through to the hospitals who can deal with this situation. Not turning him away, because turning him away could be delaying his survival rate. But it is what it is. Finally, they headed to Gagbada General Hospital, known for treating burn victims. That is where they should have even taken him at the first place, knowing how Nigeria is. Anyway, no judgment. Sadly, before they could get there, Ifeanyi succumbed to his injuries. Of course, but before he passed away, he left behind a final message, one that would change everything. Benjamin, on the other hand, was the only survivor. He had minor burns on his hands and legs. The next day, he was arrested after neighbors reported seeing him with a gallon of petrol the night before. In his defense, he denied everything. According to him, he woke up to find smoke near the guest room and rushed to help, but the thick smoke made it impossible for him to enter. He claimed he ran outside for help and asked people at the bar to pour water on him, which he said was the last thing he remembered before waking up in the hospital. To be honest with you, a minor injury on the hands and legs would not make somebody lose their memory, unless they have inhaled a lot of smoke and, collapsed afterwards due to the complications or whatsoever. When asked why he had a gallon of petrol, he said it was for his generator. He explained that since his wife had just returned from cold Scotland, he wanted to make her comfortable by turning on the AC or fan. Which in turn was a clever story, but one crucial detail would expose the truth. Chinelo was a 48-year-old banker from Imo State. She had worked hard to build a successful life for herself. She and Benjamin had been married for over 10 years and had 4 children together. She was the only one who saved up to buy land in Abuleado and build their house. In 2017, she got student visa to study for a master's degree in international business management at a university in Glasgow, Scotland. After graduating, she established a consulting company and successfully brought her husband and children to Scotland. But surprisingly, Benjamin chose to return to Nigeria. Later, Chinelo discovered a shocking truth. Her husband had been trying to sell their house in Lagos behind her back. Since the house was legally in her name, Benjamin couldn't sell it. This infuriated him, as he believed she should have included his name on the property documents. Guys, this brings me to a question. Is it okay to register your properties in both names if one person worked hardly for that property? These days, it's extremely difficult to know that you are dining with the devil right in your own house, right on your own bed and under your nose. Because this story right here is a shocking one, but not so shocking, because these things are happening a lot nowadays. This was the real reason Chinelo returned to Nigeria, to confront Benjamin about his betrayal. Unfortunately, she never got the chance to get the answers she sought. During Benjamin's trial, the most damning evidence was revealed: Ifeanyi's dying declaration. Before passing away, he told the truth about what really happened that night. According to him, Benjamin came home drunk and started banging on the door. He accused Ifeanyi of locking him out. But Ifeanyi explained that he had never bottled the door, since Benjamin had a spare key. But of course, he was drunk, so he wouldn't know where his key was. And this brings me to another advice: drinking alcohol and excessive alcohol that makes you lose your mind can lead to consequences like this. Perhaps he didn't mean to do what he did, but because he was drunk, maybe he wasn't in his right senses. So let's get on with the story. As per Ifeanyi's declaration, Benjamin started shouting and howling insults at both his wife and brother-in-law. He then stormed off, only to return later that night. While they were fast asleep, he dosed them in petrol and set the house on fire before running away. Neighbors also testified that they saw him running out of the house with a gallon of petrol. Fast forward to Feb 2025. On 27, justice was truly served and Benjamin was found guilty of 4 counts of murder, arson. The court sentenced him to death by hanging for murder and life imprisonment for arson. Even after his conviction, Benjamin showed no remorse. He insisted he was innocent and vowed to appeal the verdict. Meanwhile, the couple's 4 children remain in Scotland living with their maternal aunts. I am so glad that this man was finally taken in. There is one thing I've noticed within the black communities. Sometimes they feel entitled for something that you have worked for. I know they were partners, but perhaps she saw all this coming. That's why she registered her own house in her name. Now, the reason why you are taking her life, you will not even live to enjoy those things. This case is a heartbreaking reminder of how greed, envy, and betrayal can destroy families. Chinelo worked hard to build a better future for her loved ones, yet she lost her life at the hands of the very man she once trusted. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share for more real life stories. And guys, don't forget to become part of this family by becoming a valuable member. It's a girl Susu here on Explore with Sue, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.